Invite Jay Bavisi to join us. Jay is the president of International Council of E-Commerce Consultants, and he joins us from, looks like Chicago over your shoulder there. Jay, nice to see you. Thanks very much for joining us.
Nice to see you, Rick. Good morning to you.
So this is a big story. The Sony story is big. What exactly do people need to know about protecting themselves on the web?
Right. Rick, there are really two elements when we talk of online privacy. One element is basically when you are online, you want to make sure that nobody is actually getting access to the data that you are using online. For example, you might be typing an email, you might be chatting, so you want to protect that part of your information. And the second is basically if you're doing some sort of a secure transaction, you want to protect the ability of you logging in, making sure that a hacker is not able to pretend to be you and be able to access all of that information. So these are the two elements of online privacy that happens to be the core of the reason why perhaps the Obama administration has proposed this new national strategy.
Are you in favor of this?
Well, I think that their hearts are in the right direction. I think that password has been the single most widely used authentication method across the world for online usage. And Rick, let's just look at some data. Last year alone, 8 million people lost their identities online, which costed the economy $27 billion. Now, this excludes the data of the people that have chosen not to trade online. So it's costing the business community a tremendous amount of money when people are not able to trust the usage of their online activities. So if there is some sort of a method where the users can feel very secure when they're transacting online, then this will be fantastic for the business community. So to summarize, it is a step in the right direction, but there are many questions that will be raised when it comes to implementation.
Let's talk about passwords, as you mentioned, and ways that people can ensure that their passwords are safe. And here's the point that you helped us with. This is Jay's advice, that passwords should be at least 8 digits long and include both numbers and letters or special characters as well. I guess just to make sure that it's not something that people could easily guess?
Absolutely. Hackers are extremely talented. They're extremely organized. And they have something called rainbow tables, which basically, if you use a simple password, like my name is Jay, my password is Jay, it will not take them too much time to be able to crack the fact that my name is Jay and my password is Jay. They could use online tools and they could use various methods to get access to it. So you want to make sure that you lengthen your password, you use capital case and smaller case, you use special characters, you use things like an underscore or an alias somewhere in your password. The problem is, the more complex your password gets, the more difficult it is for the user to remember them, which will prompt them to write them down in some kind of a post-it note or somewhere in your drawer, which itself becomes a major risk.
Here at Fox, and I'm not giving anything away, we obviously, the company that I work for is very concerned about security, and so we are prompted to change our password every couple of months. I get a little note when I log into the system that your password's about to expire, and I'm like, oh my God, I have to remember now a brand new password, and it does get very confusing. So what do you do? Is there any safe way to store your password so that you can remember it? If you're going to be all tricky about it, how do you remember it?
Well, that's a good question. One way to do that is, instead of writing passwords, why don't you memorize sentences? So instead of saying username J, password J, username J, password I was in Chicago at 9 a.m. for Fox News Live, apostrophe. Now that is one example of you lengthening your password by just remembering a sentence instead of a word. However, that does not mean that you're going to be completely secure, because hackers will be able to load Trojan horses on your computers, and if they are able to detect a screenshot of whatever you're typing or a keystroke, for example, then they're going to get that anyway. So it's all a matter of degree of how far you go to protect yourself. What you want to do is try to make their life a little bit more difficult than it is right now. And that's the best that is being done right now.
Very good advice. Let's look at some of the other tips that you've provided. Always use credit cards instead of debit cards for online purchases. Make online purchase from an encrypted page, which is HTTPS in the address bar. And never shop on a public Wi-Fi. So if you're outdoors at a park or something like that using a mobile device and using the public Wi-Fi, which is available in a lot of towns. I know that here in New York City there are lots of places you can go and log into public Wi-Fi. Don't go shopping while you're doing that, right?
Absolutely. I mean, welcome to the world of hackers. I'll start from the back. Let's start with Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
When you are at a local coffee shop and you're on a Wi-Fi and you think, well, you know, internet connectivity is great. I'm going to buy a cup of coffee and I'm going to do all my business online. Well, a very bad idea, because that is an open network and somebody sitting right across you might actually be looking at every single screenshot that you're actually seeing on your screen. So that is a massive risk that you're taking. And I will go a little bit further to say that even if you're in hotel networks, and when I'm in a hotel network, I would never use my credit card to actually transact securely, because I'm not sure how secure the hotel network is. So if you're in a hotel network and you're logging onto your online banking account at Bank of America, well, you are inviting some trouble. So that is one of the challenges that you have, and one of the things that you probably want to do.
Now, the HTTPS, recently Facebook asked me if I only wanted to be able to log into Facebook using the more secure link as opposed to just the HTTP. And I had never, I mean, before that prompt from Facebook, I had never even heard that was an option or a possibility.
Yes, basically HTTPS allows your traffic to be encrypted through a tunnel, and it depends. The answer to that is, do you want HTTPS or HTTP? It depends. Anything that you do not want anyone else to know, you definitely want to use HTTPS. You want an SSL encryption on it, which means if you're doing online banking, probably Facebook, because you don't want people to have access to who your friends are, your family, your pictures. Privacy is of concern. But if you're shopping online and you just want to, you're just surfing CNN.com or FoxNews.com, well, then you really don't care. Then under those circumstances, you don't want a HTTPS, because it's going to slow your traffic down, and what's the point of even having an encryption? So first of all, you won't even have that option, but you want a HTTPS every time you're doing any kind of transaction online that you want it to be secure.
CNN.com. Why would someone be looking at CNN.com, Jay? I'm a little confused by that. All right, well, leave us with this as we wrap things up, Jay. Is there any way to ensure our online safety, no matter what guidelines or standards are put in place?
Absolutely. Just don't use the computer ever in your life. Switch off your cell phone. Don't use any email. And I think you should be protected from hackers.
Jay Bavisi is the president of International Council of E-Commerce Consultants, joining us this morning from the Windy City. Jay, thanks very much.